Hi guys, welcome to today's yoga video. We're going to be continuing up through the spine. So last time we were looking at this little area with the tailbone down here and the legs. Today we're going to continue up through more of the low back. So kind of where the back starts to dip in a little bit and the hips. So begin standing on your mat with your feet about hip width distance apart. Take a second to rock back on your heels and then forward onto the balls of your toes. Spread your toes as wide as you can. Just kind of warming up your feet because we will be doing a little bit of balancing. Okay, and then come back to stillness, standing on the mat. Inhale, lift your shoulders up, back, and down, and open your palms up to the front. Now ground down through your left foot. So first step on the heel, spread your toes as wide as you can, and then press the foot down into the ground. Give yourself a little tiny bend in the left knee, and then move into tree pose, lifting the right foot so that the bottom of the foot comes either to the ankle with your toes on the ground for support, up to the calf, or if it's in your practice, up to the thigh. Just always avoiding the knee. Focus on a point ahead of you for balance. And keep your legs active. So try to avoid the right knee coming forward. You want to be squeezing your glutes and thighs so that the right knee opens up to the side, while keeping that little bend in the left knee so that your leg doesn't lock. Hands can be at your sides or together in front of the chest. One more breath. And then on your next exhale, step your right foot back at a 45-degree angle, so it's kind of pointing slightly out to the side, but not all the way. Square your hips forwards, bend the left knee, and maybe moving your feet a little further apart if you need to. So we want our knees to be over top of the ankle or a little behind, but not forwards past the ankle. You want to kind of be able to still see your toes. This is warrior one. So back leg is strong, front leg is strong. Make sure the hips are pointing forwards. Maybe bringing the left thigh back a little bit in space and then bending the knee. Inhale, reach your arms up. Allow your shoulders to relax. And on your next exhale, rotate your right foot so that the toes are pointing out to the side. Open your chest out to the right, so out to the side. Arms parallel to the ground. Take a second to make sure they're even. And then gaze over your front fingertips of the left hand. Make sure your left knee isn't caving in. It's still pointed, aligned with the foot. And to reset your shoulders, lift your palms up towards the sky. Relax the shoulders. And then flip the palms back down. So we're really reaching out through the fingertips with the shoulders relaxed. One more breath. And exhale, lower the left elbow to the left knee. Right arm comes up overhead. Gazing up at the fingertips. Inhale. And then exhale, extend the arm over even further so that it comes alongside your ear. One more breath. And on your exhale, bring your fingertips towards the mat. Lower the right knee down to the ground. And then using your fingertips for balance, move your hips back in space so that you're straightening your left leg. Then you have a few options here, whatever feels best for you today. Either staying up on your fingertips, just feeling the nice stretch in the back of your leg. You could find some movement, maybe wiggling your hips around to see if there's anywhere that feels like a deeper stretch. Or if you'd like, you can fold over that left leg. One more breath here. And then slowly move forward again, so planting the left foot on the ground, bending the knee, tucking the toes of the right foot and pushing up into a little lunge. And then getting some momentum and strength in the core, step that right foot up to meet the left. Now we'll repeat that whole sequence on the other side. So take a moment to reorient yourself back into mountain pose. So feet about hip width distance apart, shoulders up, back, and down, slight bend in the knees. Take one breath here. And then ground down through your right foot. So feeling the heel, stretching the toes, planting the whole foot down. Slight micro bend in the right knee. And then focus on a point ahead of you for balance. And then lift the left foot up any amount onto the right leg. Squeeze the glutes, keeping the legs engaged to keep that knee out to the side as much as we can. And a couple more breaths in tree pose here. One more breath. And on your next exhale, step the left foot back with the foot on that 45-degree angle out to the left. Square your hips to the front. Bend the right knee, making any adjustments you need to feel comfortable in this pose. We really want to be stretching into the front of that left thigh, so that we can keep our torso aligned over top of our hips. Inhale, reach your arms up. Warrior one. And in this pose, we almost feel like we're spreading the mat apart with our feet. So our legs are very active. This pose is really great. Both the warrior poses, warrior 1 and 2, are very great for strengthening the joints in the hips and legs. Exhale, rotate the back foot, the left foot, out so that it's at a 90-degree angle pointing out to the side. Keeping that right knee in that same position. Lifting the arms parallel and gazing over the front fingertips. Inhale. And on an exhale, bring the right elbow to the right knee. Left arm comes up. Gaze up at your fingertips. Bring the right thigh a little bit back in space here. And exhale the arm alongside your ear. Inhale. And as you exhale, bring the fingertips to the mat. Come onto the ball of your left foot. Lower the left knee down to the ground, and using your fingertips for balance, sink your hips back in space so that the right leg straightens. Come on onto the heel, and just finding a nice place in this pose to settle into for a couple breaths. Just breathing into that deep stretch in the back of the thigh. Good. Now we'll move to the hands and knees. So bring the hands to the inside of the right leg, and then walk or swing the right knee back to meet the left. Now move into tabletop pose, so making sure that our hands are about underneath our shoulders, maybe a little more forward if you feel more stable in that pose. And knees are about hip width distance apart, and feet are flat. The tops of our feet are flat on the mat. So something else we want to keep in mind in this tabletop pose, spread your fingers as wide as you can, and make sure that your elbows are pointing inwards, facing each other, and this will allow your shoulders to kind of sink into their socket. On an inhale, extend your right leg out behind you, trying to keep the hips square and just reaching out through the toes or the heel. Exhale, bring the knee back down. Inhale, extend the left leg out behind you. And exhale, back down. We're going to add in the arms. So on your next inhale, extend your right leg and your left arm. Exhale, back down to the mat. Inhale, left leg and right arm extends. Exhale, back down to the mat. Inhale, right leg, left arm. Exhale, back down to the mat. Inhale, left leg, right arm extends, reaching through the fingertips and toes. And exhale, back down on the mat. Inhale, right leg, left arm. Keeping square, reaching out through the fingertips. Exhale, place them back down on the mat. Inhale, left leg, right arm, keeping that left elbow squared in, facing inwards. Exhale, back down to the mat. Inhale, right leg, left arm, keeping the right elbow pointing inwards. Exhale, back down. And last one, left leg, right arm, reaching out and exhaling back down. Take a second to maybe add a little movement to shake out your shoulders, some shoulder rolls. Just loosening up a little bit before we move into plank. Okay, so bringing your knees back a little bit, keeping your hands where they are. Tuck your toes, and then on an inhale, lift your hips up, coming into a plank. You also have the option of doing this one modified, just on your knees. So take a breath here in plank, making sure that your elbows are facing each other, pointing in, so that our shoulders have some stability in the socket. And then on an inhale, drop your heels over to the left, opening your body up to the right. Lift your right arm up, gaze up at your fingertips. You can also do this with your knees or one knee down. And then exhale, bring the right hand back down, coming back into plank. Make sure your fingers are spread as wide as they can be. This helps give you more stability. And then exhale, drop your heels over to the right, opening the body up to the left. Lift the left arm up, gazing up at your fingertips. One breath here. And then on your next exhale, return the left hand down to the mat. Inhale, and then exhale, lower your knees to the mat. Sitting back on your heels, keeping your hands outstretched in front of you, and lower your forehead down to the mat for child's pose. We'll stay here for a couple breaths, just allowing our shoulders to relax, feeling a little stretch in our lower back. And on your next inhale, begin to come back up, pushing your hands into the mat until you are seated on your heels. Now sit off to the side so you can swing your legs in front of you. And take a moment to rock back and forth on your sitting bones. And then bend your knees with your feet flat on the mat. We're going to do what's called a pelvic rock. We're basically going to massage our lower backs. So first, we're going to lower down to the ground. So hold on to the backs of your thighs and slowly lower all the way down until you're laying down. Maybe adjust so your knees are still quite bent. And then using your heels, we're going to push into the ground so that our lower backs are flat with barely any gap there. When we're naturally laying down, there's a little bit of a curve and a gap. So we're going to push until we can feel our entire lower back on the ground. And then go the opposite way, using your feet as guides. Roll your pelvis the other way so that you're basically rolling over onto your tailbone a little. And keep this movement going, rocking back and forth on your pelvis, pushing that lower back into the ground, and then massaging over on your tailbone. This is a really great way to massage all the little muscles around your back. And if you have a really tight lower back and even lower back pain, this can be helpful as well. So we'll just do a couple more times. Once more. And then return to neutral. So now extend your legs out completely. And we're going to do a couple more poses to finish off today. So this next one, we have a few different options for. First, we'll start by just lifting up both legs, reaching out through the heels upwards. And then lower one leg down, extending it in a slow, controlled movement, but not allowing it to rest on the ground. So just a couple inches above the ground. Move the leg out to the left, over to the side, back to center, and back up. Repeat this with the other leg, so lowering it down almost to the ground, but just a couple inches above. Out to the side, back to center, and back up. We'll do a couple more of these, like sitting on a lump of dirt. So left leg moves down while the right leg stays up. And if you'd like, you can use your hand to hold that right leg up as an anchor. So extend that left leg out, move it out to the side, back to the center, and back up. Switching legs, lowering down the right leg, a couple inches above the ground, move it out to the side, back to the center, and back up. Left leg extends out, moves out to the side, back to center, and then back up. You'll start to feel this in your hips and especially the psoas, the little muscles at the front of your hips and thighs. Right leg lowers down, out to the side, back to center, and back up. One more time on both sides. Left leg down, out to the side, back to center, and back up. Last one on the right side. Lower the right leg down almost to the ground. Open it out to the side, back to center, and back up. Now this part is optional, but it's good to try just to see where your mobility is. I have difficulty with this pose as well, just because I had an injury a few years ago to my abdomen, my abdominal muscles. It's mostly healed now, but it can still be tricky to lower both legs at the same time. So Let's see how low we can lower our legs. You can also start with your legs on the ground and then lift a couple inches, open the legs, close the legs, and back down. Lift the legs, open the legs, close the legs, and back down. We'll do 2 more of these. Lift the legs, open the legs, close the legs, back down. Last one. Lift the legs, open the legs, close, and back down. All right, so now move into one of our final poses. So bring your knees up until you can grab them and just hug your knees towards your chest. This is going to give us a little massage on all the muscles we were just working out. You can stay in stillness here, or if you'd like, rock back and forth a little bit. Let's take a couple breaths. Fill up your belly with as much air as you can. And exhale fully, allowing your knees to come a little bit closer to your chest. Now, using your knees to guide your hips, slowly start moving them in a circle. So away from you, over to the left, back towards your chest, all the way across, and then away from you again. This stimulates the muscles over our entire hips. So just keep moving your knees in this circular motion, however slow or fast as you'd like. And then switching sides, so pulling the knees down towards you, across the body, up away from you, across and back towards you. So a couple more times. Breathing deeply as you do this. And back to stillness. Hug your knees to your chest as close as you can, one more time. And then slowly lower the feet back down to the mat. And then bring the bottoms of your feet to touch, allowing your knees to fall open into reclined bound angle pose. Take a second here to make any adjustments. And then before we settle in this final pose, we're going to add a little bit of movement. So using your hands as guides if you need to, lift your knees up to touch. And then in a slow controlled movement, open up again, allowing the knees to fall down. We'll do this 3 more times. Knees closed on an inhale. And exhale, slowly allow the knees to fall open. Inhale, knees together. Exhale, knees towards the ground. Inhale, knees together. Exhale, knees to the ground. One more. Inhale, knees up. And exhale, knees to the ground. And now we will stay here for our final resting pose. So if you'd like, maybe move your feet a little further away from your pelvis so that you can relax more deeply into this pose. Allow your shoulders to rest comfortably under your back and your palms relaxed at your sides, facing up. Maybe take a second to tuck your chin so that you're lengthening your neck. And just slowly do a body scan, starting at your feet, all the way up to the crown of your head. Just noticing anywhere that your body is holding tension, and visualize that tension melting away into the ground. You can stay in this reclined bound angle pose for as long as you'd like, or you may choose to extend your legs out fully into the full corpse pose for Shavasana. But either option you choose, you can stay in this pose as long as you'd like for several minutes, just allowing your body some time to reset and relax. When you're ready to come out of the pose, simply roll over to one side, push into the ground with your hand to come back up to seated. I hope you all enjoyed today's practice. Thank you once again for joining me, and I hope you all have a wonderful week. Thanks.